What's up, y'all?
What's up, Brian?
What's up, my brother? How are you?
Not much, man. How you doing?
I'm hanging in there, man. I cannot complain, brother. I cannot complain. How's everything going your way?
Everything's good. Just
Awesome.
wanted to get you in here,
Yeah,
get you
man.
on an Instagram battle at some point. A lot of people have been requesting Rodney Jerkins.
Yeah,
Let's make that happen right now. I'm
no,
just kidding.
we're gonna make it happen.
Yeah?
We're gonna make it happen. We've been talking throughout the week, and we're gonna make it happen. We're just waiting on Swiss to give the proper the date, and we're gonna make it happen. As you can see, though, Babyface and Teddy Riley's happening on the 18th.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so you know that a B Cox Dark Child thing is gonna happen, soon. That because if Babyface and Teddy doing, we gotta do it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's gonna be, we're gonna be, just waiting on Swiss to give us the date, and we're gonna be on a popping.
No, I think it's a great thing for R&B. I was a little skeptical at first, but then when I saw Jonte versus Neo, it was such a great reminder to the hits that they've created throughout the years, and I think that's necessary for R&B.
100%.
And I can't wait to see what you and Rodney do together, but
Yeah.
really want to get this started. I mean, we just did an interview with you probably about a month ago.
Yeah.
So there's not a lot that's new, but I really want to remind people of the stuff that you've done. So we're going to go from top to bottom, from beginning to end.
Okay. How do you
of
want to
what
do it,
you've
man?
done. This is going to be extensive, I'm telling you. But I want to start off just to let you know that it's going to be a different type of interview.
Okay.
We're going to start off by talking about one of your favorite albums of all time. Can we talk about that Frankie album, My Heart Belongs to You?
Oh, man, Jesus Christ. One of the greatest, unsung R&B records of my time. A lot of us creatives look to that record. I mean, Chucky's, a huge inspiration to all of us, really. You know what I mean? Chucky, if anybody has anything to say different that, from our generation, they tripping. Chucky Thompson is somebody who laid the groundwork, and we followed his lead. You know what I'm saying? He produced that whole album. No, Chucky Thompson. Somebody said Booker. I'm talking about Chucky Thompson. Chucky Thompson, that's an album that was on his label, Chuck Life Epic, back in 90. That, and I was super excited to get the project because I saw that he did the whole thing, but hold on, I was disappointed to see the project not do what it what I felt like it should, what we all feel like it should have done. But it's one of my favorite joints, like top to finish. It's one of the joints you put on. It's comparable to me, kind of like how Daniel Jones, Where I Want to Be was. You just kind of put it on and just ride to it from top to finish. Daniel Jones had some smashes on his album, though. I don't know why Epic couldn't get that Frankie album off the ground, but I love that album. That's one of my favorite albums. I still listen to this day for inspiration. You know what I mean?
And then that record that Faith did the background vocals on.
Which one?
Her background vocals.
What
was that?
She worked on a couple of them because Mary was on All
yeah.
I Do Is Think of You Anytime.
Yeah.
So Mary was on that one, and Faith was on. There was a record. What record was Faith on? I forgot the song she was on that album. Hold on, let me look it up because I got it in my iTunes. So let me see. What's going on? What's going on with my dang thing? Hold on, here we go. I forgot what song it was, but it was Frankie.
Let me search.
It was was it Dear Love? Dear Love was the one. Dear Love was fire.
Yeah.
The whole album was crazy.
I think 112 wrote that one too.
Yeah. 112 wrote a lot of songs that people don't really know. 112, their pen was crazy. Well, still, You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah, man. That's a great album to start with, though. That album definitely inspired me early on.
Well, I think I want to bring up that album just because we're in a time where really no one has anything going on, so might as well go back, search up some R&B that you haven't heard before, and you might discover some gems, right?
Yeah, I'm not quite sure if that album is even available on streaming networks. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I have the CD, so I was able to put this album in my computer and That's why I have it in my iTunes. I'm not
Right.
even. I think the album's so out of print. It's not even. You can't even get it on streaming services. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So you
exactly.
have to if you want to look up Frankie's album. The name of the album is called My Heart, and you can look it up on YouTube. A lot of the songs are on YouTube. Actually, the album is on YouTube, but you know,
Yeah, yeah,
go listen to that album, man. It's a great album produced by Chucky Thompson. You know, Faith Evans, Mary J. Blige, 112. It's all over that album. Stevie J's on
yeah.
that album. I mean, it's definitely one of them unsung, you know, R&B bad boy hitman albums that people.
Right.
If you know, you know. You know what I'm saying?
Yep, exactly. Well, let's get started with your career. A lot of people know you started out as an intern at Noontime,
Yeah.
kind of worked your way up from there. So I want to ask, first of all, when you got to Noontime, you had already been producing there.
Mm-hmm.
So, but who was the first creative? Because Noontime was, Teddy Bishop,
Mm-hmm.
J-Dub, Dante was there,
Jazzy
Casey
Faye,
Brothers,
Jazzy
a lot of
Faye,
guys. Ideal was there. Yep.
yeah,
So
Teddy
when you
Bishop.
got to Noontime, who was the first producer or songwriter when you watched them work that made you say, I got to get to that level? I'm not there yet. I got to
I
get to
mean,
that
shit.
level.
I mean, I walked in knowing that I was, walking into a learning situation. My first meeting at Noontime when I met about the internship, I met with Christopher Hicks, who's still my manager to this day. This is 20
Hmm.
some years later. Chris, before Chris got there, well, there was a producer who's my dear friend to this day by the name of K Fam. And K Fam, who signed a Noontime, he was in there working on a track. So from the first day, I'm listening to the quality of music he's making, and I'm like, yo, man, I got to get on my, I got to get on my shit. You know what I'm saying? And so from the very first day, I was in a space where I wanted to get better, right? And then I got a chance to sit in the studio with Jazzy Faye on many occasions early on. You know what I mean? And Teddy Bishop. Early, Teddy Bishop was a person who was extremely gracious. Jazzy too. Will let me sit in on sessions. He even showed me some things on the drum machine and stuff like that I didn't know. And Teddy just, Teddy Bishop was just, his sound was so crisp and clean. And, you know what I mean? Just it popped. And I was like, man, I need to get my stuff to sound like that. And then naturally, when I met J-Dub, my first day ever meeting him, he was, I guess, in New York working with Puff, and he came back. And I was in the middle of a session. Because I also was recording engineer, you know what I mean? So I was
Right.
engineering a session for Eric Roberson, and who was, who a lot of people know as the phenomenal artist now. But at the time, Eric Roberson was really writing a bunch of, records for a lot of different people at the time. Back, I believe this was like 97, 98. And J-Dub came in and he put a dad in and he played like 5 tracks completely, blew me away. Him and Stevie was up there. Him and Stevie J were making tracks together, and it was just ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? So I
Yeah.
always knew, the bar was set pretty high from the time I walked into the door. And I was coming from my mentor by the name of Greg Curtis, who was so incredible. And he taught me as much as he could teach me. And I took all the knowledge and came to Atlanta. And so I had a base, you know what I'm saying, to start
Yeah.
with. But Greg's music was so beyond what I was making at the time. I was a kid, you know what I mean, like a young kid, and working at the Guitar Center, and you know what I mean. So
Yeah.
it's just all. The bar was set high, and I knew that I had to step up to the challenge, and I did. You know what I mean? I really did. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Now, during that time, a lot of the records that did come out, like the Ideal records, I would say that the sound, in terms of the synergy at Noontime, a lot of what you guys were putting out, it didn't necessarily sound the same as what, each producer did at that time
Yeah.
at Noontime, but it sounded a little bit similar. So just talk about that synergy during that time between you guys.
Well, we were a proper team. Like we
Yeah.
properly, was around each other every day, all day. We
Yeah.
were exchanging sounds. You know what I'm saying? I take Jazzy zip disc, and he'll take my zip
Mm.
disc. I'll spend some time sampling drums. They'll make drums. Dent will have a disc roaming around the studio. Like everybody
Right.
we were all sharing drums and sharing sounds and collaborating with another. So that's what created the linear, you know what I mean, sound. Now
Yeah.
everybody had a different edge to them. Like Jazzy's edge
Yeah.
was a little more harder, a little more hip hop. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Teddy's sound was cleaner.
Yep.
Teddy was more because he was like the OG, you know what I'm saying, of the crew.
Yeah.
Just mentality wise, because he had been with Tim and Ted and did the Face Records and worked on Tony's first album. So he had a different mentality, a different approach to production. Very, very, he comes from the school of LA and Babyface. So he had a very, very different approach to making records, a very organized approach to making records. And you know, I was just the young guy, you know what I'm saying? The baby of the crew, of producers. Jonte was the baby, but he was way more experienced than I was because Jonte had been placing records since he was 14 years old.
Yep.
So, but I was the baby of the producers, and they were all like my big brothers, and they, you know, that's synergy. That's how that synergy was created. You know what I'm saying?
Right. So one of the key moments during that Noontime era, you guys worked with Aaliyah.
Yeah,
This was coming off of One in a Million. Timbaland and Missy literally changed the sound of R&B. With that sound, you
yeah.
guys come in, you work with Aaliyah. What's your approach knowing that these producers have changed the game? How did you guys approach those records that you guys did?
We weren't going into it thinking that way. You know what I'm saying? We were going into it like it's an opportunity. You know, at that point we had worked with a bunch of people. So
Yeah.
that worked with incredible producers before us. So for us that wasn't the mentality like, oh my God, we gotta do better than or we coming behind, you know,
Hmm.
Tim and Missy. That wasn't our thought process. Our thought process was we're gonna go in and do us and hopefully she liked the joints. You know what I'm saying? And I remember um, we went to New York and we were working at Sony Studios, we were working at Chung King Studios, and we, you know, it was. Oh, are we good? Where we? Oh yeah, you got it. Okay. We got a
Yeah.
chance to bond with her, build with her, and we made some really, really great records. And her and Jonte had, you know, incredible synergy, incredible chemistry, um, and you know, just an angel, you know, vocally on point, you know, very professional, very, you know, she knew herself as an artist, you know, kind of like, you know, how people, you see Rihanna and you know that Rihanna understands who she is as an artist, you know what I'm saying? Full on. Aaliyah
Yep.
knew exactly who she was as an artist, what she wanted. You know, she was very, very no nonsense about the records she wanted to cut, and you know, and with the help of my manager Chris Hicks, he was really in there quarterbacking and, you know, throwing records their way, records they probably didn't think about doing. He would send their way. So you know, myself, Jonte, Teddy Bishop, Donnie Scance, Jazzy Faye, um, Chris Hicks, you know, we were able to really pull together some great songs for Aaliyah, you know, and the synergy was right. You know, we didn't go in there with the thought process of like, oh my God, you know what I mean? I will say that I was, you know, I rarely get starstruck. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I would say one of the 3 times I got starstruck was Aaliyah was definitely one of them times. I had to kind of get myself together and go get a shot of tequila and just kind of take the edge off, you know what I mean, before the session. You know what I mean? Um, but
Yeah.
it was a great experience, man. I kind of wish we would have been more, you know, I wasn't really into taking a bunch of pictures and shit back then. You know what I mean? How we all have a
Yeah.
camera on our phone now.
Yeah.
I wasn't really, you know, I didn't, you know, I never wanted to like bombard artists like, oh, take a picture with me, this, that, and the third. You always wanted things to be like organic and shit. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I regret not, you know, because you always think, okay, we're gonna do this project and then we're gonna do another one. You know what I mean? We had great
Yeah.
synergy. We have another opportunity, and we would have had another opportunity. It just, you know, it didn't
Yeah.
happen. You know, the universe had something different. You know what I mean? But I got my memories, and me and Jonte share stories. Me, Jonte, TR, who's a part of my management team at the time, we share all, you know, incredible stories about how, you know, what happened during those couple of weeks we were in New York working with Aaliyah. It was amazing, man. An amazing
Right.
process.
amazing songs that came out of that too. And then another project we got to talk about, J Heartbreak. We talked a
Yeah,
lot, project you and I, back and forth. You guys
yeah,
weren't really going into that project thinking that it was going to be an album. You guys were writing songs for other
yeah.
people. Now, an approach like that, how is that process like, just making songs without the thought that it's going to be on an album? Is it more fun? Is it more creative that way, or is it the same?
The best way to describe is that Bryan and Brandon Casey are masterful songwriters, right? They're like, you know, when I got in the studio with them, it really progressed my production in a way that I couldn't, I would always give them ultimate credit for that because they're just masterful songwriters. They just the melodies and they sound so
Mhm.
great singing. So it's the thing. Okay, for example, there are a lot of writers who have this problem, right? It's a great thing, but it's also somewhat of a problem, right? Where you sound so good on the demo
Mhm.
that the artist can't find themselves inside of the song.
Yeah.
All right. So the best approach when me and Jagger would write for other people, I found out down the line, would be if we were in the studio with that artist. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying?
Yeah.
Playing a Bryan and Brandon Casey demo for artists that may be insecure about their vocals, you know what I'm saying? They're
Yeah.
going to run from it. You know what I'm saying? Because it just sounds already finished. It sounds, you know what I'm saying? It sounds like it should be on the radio already.
Yeah.
Another person that has that dilemma, or used to have that dilemma, back in the day we were working together, was Tank. Tank,
Mhm.
we would do demos, and Tank would just sound so good on the demo
Yeah. Yeah.
that artists would be like, well, I'm not singing after him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And Tank obviously throughout the years found his lane and how to make a demo for an artist and how to make a record for Tank. And I think Bryan and Brandon Casey eventually figured that out too. But in those
Yeah.
days, we were just making records. And I think when Jermaine heard the songs, he was like, shit, this sounds like an album. You know what I mean? And that's what that conversation, because they went to go meet with him. I didn't even go meet with him. I had never met JD at the
Mhm.
time. You know what I'm saying? So we made the songs. They went to go meet with him. They were like, yeah, we're going to play some songs for him because we want to get on, Escape got album coming out, Usher working on the album. They were just talking about all the people that Jermaine was working with. We're going to try to, to make it happen. And then they came back after the meeting like, well, we're making an album. You know what I'm saying? I was like, okay, let's make an album. You know what I
Nice.
mean? And they were like, yo, JD wants to meet you. And this, then the third. And I went and I met him at Trina Broussard had a showcase at Rio Mall. Anybody from Atlanta, the old Rio Mall used to be on Ponce back in the day. They used to have Chris Tucker had a comedy club in this mall. It's crazy. Big ass comedy club in this mall. And there was a So Def showcase for Trina Broussard at this club. And we went to the showcase. And I met him briefly after the showcase. He was like, yo, you did some songs? I was like, yeah. He was like, all right, cool. You know what I mean? And then he walked off, right? So I was like, okay, I don't know what that means. And then like maybe a month or two later, he called my house and was like,
Mm.
yo, I'm ready to get this this album finished. And I was like, okay, let's go. You know what I mean? I didn't have a car at the time. I was my girlfriend at the time, she had a car. So she was the one kind of taking me around. And then so when the when the thing with Jermaine started, the first day, my managers, the whole Noontime team took me. So Chris, Ryan, Noonie, and TR drove me all the way to College Park, to the house to meet JD. JD was in a session with somebody at the time. And we hung out for a little bit. And we talked about music, and he told me, what he wanted and what songs he liked, that we did already. And then he was like, I want you to come back tomorrow, and we're going to start finishing the album. Now, I thought there was going to be one isolated
Mm.
situation. You know what I mean? I thought, okay, I'm going to go to Jermaine's house. We're going to work on this J Heartbreak album, and that's going to be it. I didn't know
Yeah.
that he had like, you know what I'm saying, plans
Right.
for us to work together more. I just thought, okay, yeah, we're gonna finish this album. It's gonna be great. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
the next day I came back and the very first song we wrote was Keys to the Range. And it was the fastest I ever seen like a song get recorded, mixed, and then put out. Because we made the song, and then at the time, what's the movie? In Too Deep. All right. So In Too Deep, Jermaine was in that movie. If y'all remember, he's Melvin. He's the one who got beat. He got beat up by Omar Epps and stuff. You know, he tried to rob Omar Epps outside smoking weed. So Melvin, he was in the movie. So he was like, yeah, we're going to get his song to the movie, Keys to the Range. So next thing I know, like maybe three weeks to a month later, the song was out and the movie was out, and it was the first single from the soundtrack. I'm like, oh, snap. You know what I mean? Then that song started picking up steam. He's like, okay, we gotta finish, gotta make more songs. Then we made I think we made Did She Say next. And then he wanted to make a ballad. He was like, yo, can you come with some church sounding chords or whatever? And so I started coming up with some chords. And while I'm coming up with chords, he starts singing the hook.
Wow.
For Let's Get Married. Jermaine wrote the hook for Let's Get Married. And it was my first time ever like seeing him write a song. So kind of threw me off because Jermaine's not a singer, right? So it kind of was like, yo, he just started singing out loud. I'm like, what the hell? I mean, for me, cause I'm a jokester, so to me, I'm like over there like laughing and shit. But then the shit ended up becoming like a huge ass record, right? But then I'll never forget, Brian and Brandon came over and they were just like, they understood. Because they worked with him on the Jagged Era and worked with him on other stuff before. So they knew his level of like writing ability. They knew that he was, you know, I wasn't aware. I'm gonna keep it real. I just always thought JD was like this rapper, producer type, you know what I mean, person. I didn't realize how passionate he is. But at the time, I didn't know how passionate he was for R&B. Like as a writer, like he wrote all them songs. Like people don't realize that Jermaine wrote Just Kicking It. He wrote all them Escape songs. He wrote them Usher songs. Like he wrote You Make Me Wanna. Like wrote it. Like Sex Beat is out right now. Like Jermaine wrote Sex Beat. Like Lil Jon did the beat. JD wrote. Like JD's passion for R&B music. I think people don't understand. Like it's actually, to me, it surpasses his passion for hip hop. Even though he'll probably argue that his passion for hip hop. You know what I mean? But I believe that his passion for R&B is definitely supersedes his passion for hip hop, because Jermaine wants to write songs every day, and all the songs he wants to write are fucking singing. he always wants to write he wants to write R&B songs every day. You know what I'm saying? So I learned a valuable lesson because I was just like, yo, like this guy loves R&B. And I mean, we had a conversation. I asked him, because whenever I'm around people who are legends or people who you feel like you should learn from, you know, you got to ask the questions. You know what I mean?
Right.
So while we're making Let's Get Married, right? We make the song, he writes the hook, and then Brian and Brandon come over and they do the verses and the bridge and all that, right? So while they're in there writing, me and Jermaine are just out there talking, playing pool, whatever, right? And I asked him, I was like, yo, man, you know, you always got to ask the proper questions. So after being with him for a few days and realizing his writing skill, how he writes, and saying, it hit me. I was like, oh, he wrote all this Usher shit. Like I could tell the cadences, it's all him, right? So I asked him, I was like, yo, man, what was your approach? You know what I'm saying? Like, what was your approach to Usher? Like, how did you fix that? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know, how did you crack the code? And he was like, you know what, man? He said something to me that really blew my mind. He was like, yo, he was like, if he was going to be a singer, he would be a nigga like Bobby Brown. He was like, man, I love Bobby Brown. And nigga was raw. He did, you know, he just like, so he's like, I'm not a singer though. You know what I'm saying? So for me, the only thing I thought about was, while we making Usher records, like I would write an album as if I was singing it. You know what I'm saying? So Bobby Brown was his like inspiration. You know what I'm saying? So records like My Way and like all that stuff sounds like Bobby Brown. If you think about it, the actual
Right.
content, you know what I mean, of the music. Just like me, like all those records have that Bobby, you know, energy to it. You know what I'm saying? Nice and slow, all of that. So you always ask questions. Like you have to ask, if you're ever around somebody like a Jermaine Dupri or like a Jimmy and Terry or like a Babyface LA or Teddy Riley, or even Chucky Thompson or Stevie J, you ask the fucking questions. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You have to, you know what I mean? You gotta ask the questions. So
Right. Someone had told me, I don't know who it was, I don't know if this is true, so I need your confirmation on this. The record I Don't Wanna from the Hard album from Jagged Edge, was that created during the J.E. Heartbreak
yeah,
era?
yeah.
It was, right? Yeah.
That's one of the first songs we did actually.
Yeah. Yeah. That's my favorite Jagged record right there. What happened with that? Why was it on hard?
Well, because when Noontime had a had a um had a label deal. They had two label deals. They had a
Okay.
deal with Epic and they had a deal with Atlantic, and they had a group called Absolute.
Yep.
And so we would make records. A lot of the songs we would make, we were making for they would say, okay, we want these 3 songs for Absolute. Or we want, you know, so they basically they had their pick of the litter. If I was in one room working with Jagged and we made 10 songs, right? They would come in and say, okay, yo, Cox, y'all got 10 songs. Let's get 4 songs for Absolute. You know what I'm saying? So what happened was we were, I Don't Wanna was supposed to be on J.A. Heartbreak. And this is before me and Jermaine met. He had heard the song and was like, yo, they told me that he said it was gonna be their first single, right? So I
Yeah.
remember me and my manager got into a heated argument. Me and Chris have only gotten into about maybe 3 arguments out of our 23-year relationship. You know what I'm saying? This was one of the 3. We got into an argument about Absolute having this song over Jagged Edge. I'm like, yo, Jagged Edge are coming out. They on Social Depth. You know what I mean? Like I was like,
Yeah.
this makes way more sense than putting this song. We've given Absolute 30 songs. Like, let's give this song to Jagged. And we had a wild argument, and my manager Chris was like, yo, you think he gonna let you out a first single? You on his label, on his group? I mean, we were going back and forth, and then, you know, I kind of just was like, well, man, I'm not going to argue no more about this. You know what I mean? If you guys want them to keep the song, they can keep the song. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that day, let me tell you, it was ill. That day that we let I Don't Wanna Go, right? That day that after 2 hours of arguing, I let it go. I left Chris's office, walked to this, because the office was next to the studio, like they were connected. Went to my room, and we made He Can't Love You.
Nice.
You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
it ended up working out because He Can't Love You ended up being the first single. And,
Right.
you know what I mean? It ended up working
Yeah.
out. But only because I Don't Wanna we were fighting for the song, and Noontime won. You know, I mean, granted, you know, Absolute had an incredible album. Actually, I don't know if are you familiar? You're familiar with Absolute, are you?
Of course. Yep.
Okay, I'm about
Of
to
course.
say,
Yeah. Of course. Of course.
the
Yep.
song that we did. So we ended up giving them some songs, like me and Donnie and the twins. We did a song called "Is It Really Like That?" You know, Jagged Edge wrote that song. You know, Brian and Brennan wrote that song. So it's like basically
Right.
tit for tat. And we did a lot of songs for them. I did a record called "I Saw You" with a writer I had named Tehran that was fire. You know what I mean? Like, it's just,
Right.
you know, Absolute ended up getting some really, really great records, you know what I mean, throughout the
Yeah.
process. You know what I mean?
Right. So let's fast forward a little bit. You talked about your work with Jermaine Dupri. 2001 comes along. 8701 comes out. Now, you talked about your work with Jagged and JD, but you already had experience working with Jagged.
Yeah.
Going into with Usher, you guys do the Mariah record with Usher, but then you guys go into 8701.
Okay,
That's
so
JD's artist. That's not your artist. Like, how does that work?
you know what's
Like,
funny
from a
though? Like
creative standpoint.
when we did Rainbow, when we did How Much, the song that's Usher and Mariah.
Yeah.
I didn't meet us. You know, I didn't meet Usher at that session. I didn't know Usher during that period. We did that song in '98, right? So I think the song came out in '99. So Mariah came to the house, to Jermaine's house. It's my first time meeting her, and we write the song. Mariah, me, and Jermaine write the song.
Right.
And then, you know, of course, Jermaine comes with the idea we should make this a duet. Let's put Usher on here, because if you notice, Usher's just kind of like ad-libbing throughout the song. You know what I mean? He has a few lines back and forth, but it's mostly him just kind of just saucing it up. You know what I'm saying? So I was excited that I had a song with Mariah and Usher. I thought the song was going to, you know,
Right.
I was super excited about that, right? So then when Jermaine moves into the South Side, when they move into the new studio, the very first session we have is Usher.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So this is the second time I was starstruck, because Usher was one of my favorite, probably my favorite artists. You know what I'm saying? Like to keep it 100, Usher's probably my favorite artist. You know what I'm saying? Are we still there?
Yeah, we still.
Yeah, okay. To keep it 100, Usher's my favorite artist. You know what I'm saying? Like his tone, his everything about what he stands for as an artist, and me as a songwriter and as a producer, he's a person that it was just like, I want to work with him. You know what I mean? Like every, you know, you have a wish list, right? You know what I'm saying? And for me, Usher was like #1. Like, I want to work with this guy. You know what I'm saying? And so the first day, we ended up having, you know, I learned a valuable lesson. And I think I tell this story a lot. I think you might even know this story. I learned a valuable lesson the first day, the first session that I had with Usher and Jermaine. You know, I learned that the song is in the conversation. I learned that in order to be an effective producer, you have to find out what is affecting the artist. You know what I'm saying? Like, what do they want to talk about? What are they going through? You know what I mean? And I didn't understand what we were doing when he first got there. I didn't understand why we were talking for 3 hours. You know what I'm saying? I just, okay, I'm like, okay, are we going to get started? You know? And we talked for like 4 hours. Really, we talked for a minute. And through that conversation, a lot of the songs we wrote for 8701 came up from those conversations, like TTP and U-Turn and If I Want To. A lot of them songs came from these conversations that we would have every time we'd go to the studio. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And You Got It Bad was the first song that we did the first day that we had a session with Usher in the brand new studio. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I learned a lesson as a songwriter, that the songs in the conversation. The lesson I learned as a producer was connecting with an artist properly, talking to an artist, getting to know an artist, and sonically, less is more. All right, because I've been signed to Noontime. Noontime is an offshoot of, like, you know, of, I would say, like Bad Boy Hitman, right? You know, we were, if you had to compare crews, you know what I mean? We were like a junior, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And a lot of what I did as a producer at Noontime was orchestration and big ass intros and strings and all, putting everything but the kitchen sink in a track, right? And when we were coming up with the track for I'm sorry, for You Got It Bad, I did the 16-bar loop, and I had all kinds of shit in it, strings and lead lines and wind and all kinds of shit in the track, right? Guitars, all kinds of stuff. And I remember I went to go get JD, man, come listen to these 16 bars. You know what I mean? So he comes and he press play, and he goes and he mutes every sound that I put in there. He just starts muting all the sounds and shit. And the sounds that he kept in there was the nylon guitar, the wind, and I think like a little lead line thing that I did, right? And then he said, okay, we're going to start here. And then he put a kick, a snare, a hi-hat, and a shaker in it. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, yo, so wait a minute. This entire track is only going to have 8 tracks on it, or 7 or 8 tracks. This is what's going in my mind. I had cymbal swells. Like, if we got this big ass SSL, boy, we need to use 30 of these tracks. In my mind, you know what I mean?
Right.
Let's use all these tracks. He looked at me like, man, you're crazy. Like, you know what I mean? And then if you notice, and You Got It Bad, there's no harmonies in the hook. There's only harmonies at the like second verse part when it's like I really adore you, when he makes those references to those other two songs.
Yeah.
But there's no harmony in the song. It's just
Mm-hmm.
him singing lead. There might be a stack on the hook, you know what I'm saying? And I remember sitting in the studio saying to myself, he's not gonna put no harmonies on this hook, you know,
Right.
or we're not gonna do this is it, you know what I mean? And but when it was done, I was just like, oh, this shit is fire. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I learned a value, like I learned such a big lesson. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I've carried those those three lessons with me throughout my whole career.
Right. And then that guitar solo at the end, whose idea was that? Because that worked. I don't know
It was
why or
JD.
how, but it worked.
JD.
Yeah.
And what's crazy is they didn't like the guitar. They fought for the guitar, fought because they were going to take it out.
It's crazy.
Mm.
So, you know, I might be jumping here, but what I love about your production is that even though you were working with JD at the time, you were still doing your own thing,
Yeah,
which people might not recognize or remember, but you had songs like Forever by Little
yeah.
Mo, amazing song. Another song, Drew Hill's If I
I
Could,
could, yeah.
amazing, amazing song. And then one of my favorite B Cox beats is ATL's It's Us, amazing
Wow.
beat.
Yeah, you took it
One of
back
my
with that,
favorites.
man. Damn.
But
Yeah.
one of the records that did stand out during that time for me, and I gotta ask, Nivea's Don't Mess with My Man.
Yeah, it's a good
Why
story.
is there a difference between the radio version, production wise, versus the version that initially came out?
Okay, so Don't Mess with My Man. Okay, Nivea was originally signed to Noontime. Okay.
Okay.
So Dent hand delivered Nivea to Noontime, and um they did a deal. You know, they did a deal with her, and they basically put her in the laps of me and Jagged Edge. So me and Brian
Hmm.
and Brandon, we were basically working on Nivea. You know what I'm saying? Like Nivea was our project. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? At Noontime. So we made about a good 12 songs, you know what I mean?
Wow.
For Nivea. And for whatever reason, the deal, I mean, I don't know the backdrop or why the deal fell through. But the deal fell through, you know what I mean? And Nivea ended up leaving and doing a deal at Jive. I don't know how the Jive thing happened, but
Right.
next thing I know, she did a deal at Jive. So when Jimmy Manus was her A&R,
Hmm.
and Jimmy, I'd done some work with Jive already, and me and Jimmy had built a relationship. My boy Jarrell Allen knew Jimmy Manus very well, and we connected the dots, and then me and Jimmy built a pretty good relationship. So I don't know who played him the song. Somebody played him the song.
Yeah.
I don't think I played it for him. I think somebody else played it for him. And the original version of that song is the is um, the more cleaner version.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense? Like the version that is the hit.
Yeah.
It has like a more of an edgy thing to it. The drums are
Yeah.
different. It has the
Hmm.
the message, little vent, like it has that little sound in it. And
Yeah.
so what happened was I did that track, the original track, at a certain
Yeah.
point in my career, a certain
Mm.
point in my development as a producer.
Right.
By the time they want to put the song out, which was about maybe like a year, maybe 2 years after I did the original track,
Right.
I didn't know that they were trying to put the song out for real until they were shooting the video.
Wow.
So I got a call like, yo, they're down and shooting the video for Don't Mess with My Man. I'm like, to what track? To the original track? I was like, oh, no. No, I got to shoot that
Oh.
track. So
Right.
so you understand, they put the song out. I didn't even know they put the song out, service the song to
Hmm.
radio. I didn't know all that. You know what I mean? I just heard they were doing the video to the original version. So I went down to the video shoot to talk to Jimmy, like, Jimmy, listen, please don't put this song out. Don't put this version out. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to get the acapella. I'm going to redo the track. We cannot let it come out this way. But I didn't know that they had already put it out or they had already
Oh.
serviced it to DJs. And back then it took
Right.
time. It took time to get records to the DJs and DJs get to the program directors. You know what I mean? It wasn't like how it is now. You press a button and
Right.
everybody has a record. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I literally went back to the studio that night, made the new track,
Yeah.
Was like I couldn't get because at the time I was working with Manny Marroquin for the mixing. He mixed all my songs back then. I couldn't get him to, like, I couldn't schedule him fast enough. So it was my first time working with Leslie Braithwaite, and I was like, yo, if I can get a I need to get this mixed tonight. You know what I'm saying? So I did the track. We lined the vocals up. We booked Patchworks. I went to Patchworks. We mixed. It was all the same night. You know what I'm saying? Mixed the version that you guys hear all the same night. And
No.
then I turned it in the next day, and then they soon pressed it up after that. But they were already moving. That's why there are two versions. Like you might, type up one. You know what I'm saying? There are two versions
No.
because they were already moving with the project. So they just slid that other version in. You know what I'm saying? So
Nice,
that's
nice.
why
Yeah,
that's why there are two versions.
love both versions actually. So,
I'm glad you do, because I was like, man,
yep,
please don't put this other version out. It was already out. I was like, shit.
it's all good. So, want to talk some unreleased stuff here. I don't think this has actually come out, but I was talking to Kiera from ISIS. You did their second
Yeah.
album.
Yeah.
Where's that album? Can we hear that album?
I should produce that. I produced so many songs,
Yeah.
but then I was their A&R. At the time,
Wow.
I worked at Arista. This is during the time we were making Confessions during this time, and Jermaine was the president of
Mm.
Black music at Arista Records at the time, and he hired me, like, yo, gave me an A&R job, and he gave me a song deal at Arista. So
Right.
my ISIS, I was A&R ISIS with Joey Arbogé.
Mm.
And I was basically going to LA. This is my first time spending like a large amount of time in Los Angeles. I was going to LA working with Billy Moss. They were signed to this guy named Billy Moss, and making records, pulling records from people, making records. Me, Jonte, Harold Lilly. We made some really, really dope records on them. I actually found a couple of those records recently.
Nice.
I mean, I may do like a little SoundCloud thing and put some joints out, y'all, from
Yeah.
stuff you guys haven't heard and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, let's do that. So, now we're on to 2004, 2005. That era, everything's crazy at this point. You guys are dropping huge hits, record-breaking hits, Confessions,
Yeah,
Emancipation of Mimi.
yeah.
Talk about that era, the synergy, and just what's going on in the studio there that makes that so magical, that era.
I guess for me, it's I'm coming into a place where I feel very confident about what I'm doing. You know what I'm saying? I'm coming into a space where when I walk into the studio, I know what I'm doing. You know what I mean? Versus from 98 to about 2003, I was still figuring my way around, even though I may hit records during that process. I was still trying to figure my way around. You know what I'm saying? By the time we get to 2003, 2004, I know what we're doing. You know what I'm saying? I know when we go in the studio with Usher, I already know what we're doing. Like, it's already, everybody's in sync. We all know what we're doing. Everybody's moving. You know what I'm saying? And that's when, everything just kind of starts blossoming even more. I mean, at that point, I had hits. I won a Grammy, well, 2 Grammys by that time.
Yeah.
But it was when I realized, okay, when I walk into this room, I know what I'm doing. This is what we're doing. This goes there, this goes there. If I'm with JD, what we doing? We're doing boom, 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 boom. Okay, let me know. Okay, this is what I think. I mean, literally at this point, the flow is just the creative output is just crazy, and now it's super exciting because I'm seeing. This is when beforehand you're concerned about if a record's going to come out. You may make a record and hopefully they buy it or hopefully it comes out. At this point, I had a lot of releases between the work I was doing with Noontime and the work I was doing with JD. So I knew, like, if I go in the studio, if I'm in the studio with Jermaine, it's coming out. If I go in the studio with Jonte, it's coming out. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like that was just, so when you have that kind of like energy, it's just,
Right.
I mean, and it's reflected, you know what I'm saying? And when we were making Confessions, the first song we did for Confessions was Burn.
Mm.
So if you start there, you know what I
Right.
mean? That's where we started. It's like, shit, okay. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's, and I learned a lot more about Jermaine, the storyteller, during this period. You know what I mean? And Jermaine would challenge me to write, like, you know, challenge me, like, yo, man, you need to write. Like, you need to write. You know what I'm saying? And
Right.
so this is during a period where he was challenging me. You know, he would be like, Cox, what you got? You know what I mean? And I better have a little something. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So that bled over into my other sessions when I would, when I would go do sessions outside of So Def. That energy bled into my other sessions, which is why those other songs like Little Most Forever and things like that just started kind of popping off. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah,
Nice. Yeah, that burn sound,
yeah,
it led to so many great R&B songs. True Love by Faith Evans is one.
yeah.
Still by me. I don't know what the timeline is, but that sound,
All of that is in the
it just
same time.
it worked.
Yeah,
So from there, you collaborate with your cousin Kendrick.
yeah,
Adonis is in the mix.
yeah.
We had talked about just that whole journey, but during that process, one of the records that does come out is "Be Without You" by Mary J. Blige.
Yeah.
And what that does for R&B is I think it creates a sound where R&B ballads, piano based, are able to be first singles, like a "Be Without
Mm-hmm.
You." So during that time, and I can name a million other ones, but during that time, are the labels saying, I need a record like Be Without You?
Yeah.
And how do you react to that?
Yeah, yeah. Um, um, well, when you're young like that
Yeah.
and you start making a lot of money and you feel like, well, it worked. It worked last time, it'll work again. You know what I mean? And it'll work until it stops working. You know what I mean? So you have records like, Be Without You, Say Goodbye,
Yeah.
um, you know, Walked Out of Heaven. I mean, all this stuff was all around that 2003 to
Mhm.
2005, 2006, Marcus Houston Circle. Like all these songs
Yeah.
are in the same kind of, same era. And you just keep going until it stops working. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
and you know, I was just I was working so much I wasn't even thinking about the time. You know what I'm saying? It was just
Right.
like the Be Without You thing happened. Me and Jonte made that song. And there's a funny story. I got a call from Kendu Isaacs and Jimmy Iovine, right? Chris calls me
Hmm.
like, yo, Kendu and Jimmy's gonna call you. So they call me and they're like, yo, Cox, we need a record for Mary. We need like a rhythmic, ballad type situation, this, that, and the third, whatever. And they kept referencing Mariah's "We Belong Together," right?
Right.
So I'm on the phone and they keep referencing that song, like like how you did with "We Belong Together," and I just think they just automatically assumed that I co-wrote that song because me and Jermaine would co-write a lot of songs together, and I did "Shake It Off" and "Don't Can I Get Your Number" and things that I did other songs on the album.
Yeah.
So I let them talk, and at the end of the conversation, I said, "Well, hey guys, I hate to be the bearer of bad news. I didn't make that song.
Mm.
I said that song was made by Jermaine Dupri, Manuel Seal, and Jonte and Mariah. Like, I know all the other songs have my name on it, but that song, I didn't make
Right.
that song." And I said, so you might want to call JD and Manuel to do this Mary thing.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because I didn't make it, right? So he was just like, okay, well, can you make it? Can you make me a record?
Right.
So I can make you a record. That's easy. What I can make you whatever you want me to make you. You know what I'm saying? I just want to be. I want to put it out there. I don't want nobody. I don't want word to get back that Bryan said it. You know what I mean? I was like, I have nothing to do with that song. You know what I'm saying? And he was like, all right, well, make me a song. Like basically, make me a song. I said, cool, all right. And so I called Jonte. I was like, yo, Johnny, man, I just got off the phone with Jonte and Chris had already been talking. I called Jonte. I was like, hey, man, we need to make a song for Mary. You know what I'm saying? And he was like, all right, you know, let's make it. I was like, cool. So I literally made the track in like 7 minutes. Like I made the track so fast. You know what I'm saying? And was like, all right, you know, the track is made. And I called Jonte, I got something, right? And then as I'm finishing up the track, the door of my studio room is open, right? Sam is doing his engineering thing, tracking the beat out. And my cousin Jason Perry walks by the studio. He walks by the room, right? Now, I was working with Kendrick on a regular basis. You know what I mean? Kendrick, this particular day, decided to go on a date. He had a date this particular night. We worked on a couple ideas early in the day, but this particular night, he had a date, right? So my cousin Jason walks by the room, and he peeks his head in, and I'm like, yo, JP, what are you doing? You know what I mean? Like, he's like my little brother. So he's like the little brother you always be talking shit to. But he's a genius. Jason's like literally a musical genius. I was like, yo, what are you doing, man? Oh, I don't know. I'm just walking around. I was like, yo, come in here and put a bridge on this song. You know what I'm saying? I need 4 bars, put a bridge on the song. Right? Comes in, he does the 4 bars. He's a genius. He comes with the 4 bars fast, boom, whatever. So I said, cool, we're going to rock with that. Jonte pulls up, literally play the track for him one time. He's like, wow, I got it. He goes in the studio, he goes into the room, and he sings the song down.
Wow.
And I'm like, so I'm sitting in the studio like, oh, this motherfucker is, you know what I mean? I've been knowing Johnny forever, but this was like special. This was just a special night. You know what I mean? The way all the things kind of came together, it was just a special night. You know what I'm saying? And we sent it to Kendu and Mary, and you know, she cut it. I think she cut it that night, if I'm correct.
Wow.
Then you know, a few weeks later, my man, you know, Chris, who's in the chat right now, Chris calls me. He's like, yo, so listen, man, Jimmy want to talk to you again. So then I get on the phone with him and Jimmy, and he's like, I gotta have Ron Fair touch it instead of the third. Initially, I was completely against it. You know what I'm saying? I was like, yo, I don't want nobody touching my record. Like I was going, like I was very, very, very like upset about Ron Fair touching my record, right? And then Jimmy was like, just trust me, Ron. Trust me, Ron's gonna know what to do with this record. So then they send the record to Ron. Ron writes these amazing, you know, he takes the string parts that I have already, then he embellishes them and just put this beautiful thing on top of the pads. And it was my first time seeing like Melodyne, right? So, you know, we were able to take a lot of the vocals, not her leads, but a lot of her background vocals, and use them in Melodyne and give it this lush kind of sound. You know, I had never seen anybody use Melodyne the way that I never seen anybody use it, period. But the way that Ron and his engineer was doing it, it was just like, yo, this is. I was, you know, a believer, you know, after, you know, Ron touched it. And then I remember I was in New York working on a project. I was working on Joe. They were mixing Be Without You in LA. They were mixing Ron Fair and Dave Pensada was mixing Be Without You in LA. And I'm in New York working with Joe, but I'm waiting by the phone. You know what I'm saying? Because waiting for this is when it first, like it wasn't emailing joints back then. It was called eNet, right? So you had to have like this this network in the studio. Each studio had personal networks, and they would send records through this thing called eNet. This was before you could just email songs back in the day. So
Right.
I'm working with Joe, waiting by the phone. You know, Dave calls me. They sending passes back and forth. We doing notes, this, that, and the third. And then I get the last pass of the song, right?
Yeah.
So I'm in the studio with Joe, but I've been, you know, I had visitors all day. And this particular at this particular juncture, Akon, Devon Stevens, and Boo are in the session. We were just chopping it up. I get the last pass, and I say, "Yo, we about to listen to this new Mary shit. I just got the last pass, right?" So press play, and all I remember is that after the song was over, you could hear a pin drop.
Wow.
It was like Akon was like, "Yo, that is probably the best song I've ever heard in my life."
Wow.
Right? It was like, okay, well, I said, play it again, right? So Sam plays it again. And I'm sitting there like, yo, it was a moment that she was like, this song is going to be bigger than anything that I can even imagine at this point. It was like the moment that there's many times I hear mixes back and it's like, oh, okay, that's dope. And then it'd be a hit record, like, oh shit, it's a hit record. It's, you know, it's like, okay. We knew this record was like, oh, this song is going to be ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
And it changed. It shifted. You know, I'd already been working and making my name, and you know, doing really good work on my own. Really doing really good work with JD. You know what I'm saying? And we were making our names. I was making my name, making a name for myself. But Be Without You was a moment that was just like, shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And for me and Jonte, it just was like, bro, you know what I mean? Bro, what is going on right now? You know what I mean? And but it was, people always ask, like, why didn't we like super capitalize? And and we did. I think we both did in our in separate kind of ways. You know what I mean? And at the time, I had to I had to figure out how I was going to get, how I was going to capitalize and how I was going to work through working with these song deals. And so at the time, I had been working with Adonis, and me and Kendrick had already been working together. We did the Destiny's Child, Bad Habit. We did, we'd already been working together. So I was like, well, yo, let's just, Jaha was like, you need to go to LA. Jaha and Chris, I need to go to LA. So I was like, let's assemble a team. We're going to LA. And that's how I ended up in LA that year. And we placed like 73 records that year. You know what I mean? And so myself, myself, Adonis, Kendrick, D Scants, we just and Sam, we just went out there and said, hey, let's go. And we just started traveling around, and we was working like crazy, and it was just a really, really interesting ride. You know what I mean? An incredible journey.
Dope. And like I said, that changed the sound of R&B. The next couple of years, ballads were back on radio stations, on pop radio. So that was dope. Hey, Brian, are we close to an hour? We might have to restart.
Let me see. What have to click? Yeah, we are.
Okay.
It's saying an hour and 4. What does that mean? I think we're past the hour. I don't know.
All right.
When it starts counting down, I'll let you know.
All right, sounds good. So, like I said, those ballads was pretty much on every R&B album. Tyrese Gotta Get You, one of my favorites. There's so many that come.
That's one of my favorite jokes.
That beat.
Tyrese and Jonte, once again, like, you have to just give. Jonte is a genius. You gotta just give it up. You know what I mean? So it's Gotta Get It is one of my favorite joints. For real. You know,
and then Danity Kane, Ride for You as well.
Good one.
Crazy.
Really, really good one.
Crazy.
They wanted a vibe like that. Puff wanted a vibe like that, and we came up with it fast. And it was just one of them things. And I was super excited about like the response to the song. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And then one that that didn't officially come out. I don't know who in the chat has heard it, but you did a couple on Chris on his second album.
Yeah.
Throw was on it, but Diagnosed with Love,
Yeah.
that record right there, that should have came out. It should have been a hit.
Diagnosed with Love didn't even make the album, you know that, right? It made like
Exactly.
it made like the international album, some shit like that. Like
Yeah.
Fallen
Yep.
Angels, like Fallen Angel was on like he had some shit on that album that I don't know why they didn't use it. You know, we had
Right.
we had Fallen Angel, we had Back to Back, which was fire. I mean, literally that Chris Brown album that was supposed to be, you know what I mean? I think we would have. I mean, he's still, of course, you know, he's still Chris. He's going to be with you. But I feel like we were on to something super special. And I don't know what happened, man. We were working, and then it just, you know, we did the movie. We did the Christmas movie. We did This Christmas and Try a Little Tenderness, and we made all those songs. And then we were supposed to come back and finish, and then it just went a whole nother direction. You know what I'm saying? And you know, I don't know what happened. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I was like, damn. You know what I mean? And they kept Throw, which I was happy that they kept that song.
Right.
And then they put those songs on. They put Fallen Angel and Diagnosed with Love on international albums. I was like, why didn't they put these songs out? These songs are crazy.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah. Fatal Attraction is another one.
Fatal Attraction. I mean, I'm telling you, we we was in our bag. Like I you know, I would say me, Adonis, and Kendrick, we were in D-Scans. We were in our bag. You know what I mean? And I feel like he could have R&B. You know, that's when the shift started happening. EDM started happening around that time. But I feel like R&B would have had a lifeline. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
If Chris had stayed on that boat. You know what I'm saying?
Agreed. Now, two projects I want to talk about that I think are some of your best work. Might not get talked about a lot, but the first one are the songs that you did with Joe on his 2 albums. Woo!
Joe is probably the best artist as far as like just vocals, you know what I'm saying? Just straight come in and just knock it out. You know what I'm saying? One take Jake, you know what I'm saying? No Thomas is one take Jake, baby. Like, you know what I mean? Like I don't think people really understand how good Joseph Thomas is. You know what I'm saying? I just don't think people realize how good he is, man. I mean, literally one take Jake. He hit a song and he'd be like, I got it. And he'll do it down one take, and then he'll hit you with the once more. And then he'll sing it again. Down. And you're like, yo, this motherfucker is ill. You know what I mean? Love working with Joe. To this day, one of my favorite artists to work with. Like, he's just a phenomenal artist, you know, a phenomenal singer. You know what I mean? One of our greats. You know what I'm saying? Vocally, he's unmatched. You know what I mean?
And then the other one is, of course, Day 26. And what I love about Day 26, that was the group that you kind of molded yourself.
I love
the
that.
progression from the first album to the second album. When you go from Since You've Been Gone to Baby Maker and songs like that, it was this crazy progression. Just talk about that work and that progression.
Well, Day 26 was special to me because, you know, I was a part of the process. You know what I mean? I was able to sit with Puff and sit with Michael Bivins and sit with Lorianne and really, really not only help pick the group, but help mold the group. And, you know, I knew when we did Exclusive, with all the guys, because I think it was like 15 guys at the time. It was the last 20. So Exclusive is literally the 20 guys that were left in the house. All right. And I remember, you know, figuring out who was who and vocally who was, you know, and I just super impressed with what we came up with, you know what I'm saying? And so that first album was like so easy, you know what I mean? It was so easy. And anybody knows me and how I work when I'm in work mode. It's like, as you could tell, the reality TV shit, I didn't really get down with the shenanigans with the the only time people really saw me was when we were picking the group or when we were in the studio. You know what I'm saying? And it's just, you know, one of them things. Is like, you know, Day 26 always be near and dear to me. You know what I mean? And you know, it was just really, really dope to work with them. And then when we got to the second album, you know, the big time. I gotta say this too. Day 26, that first album, because that first album has Are We in This Together on the first album, right?
Yeah.
So like that first album, I would say when I think that I did a co-publishing deal with they know him, Aeon Clark. Back then he was known as Voice Alexander. Aeon really helped me mold the sound, right? Because I was so excited about working with him. Like, Aeon is a phenomenal songwriter, and he inspired me in so many ways. So that's how we made records like Don't Fight the Feeling and Are We in This Together, and records like that, because it was just like, yo, Aeon he just put energy, he put like new energy into me as a person. I was super excited about working with him, and he helped me mold that sound, you know what I'm saying? And then Adonis, who's like the vet, came in, and with records like Since You've Been Gone, you know what I mean, and rounded out what, you know what I'm saying, how important they sounded up becoming, you know what I mean, and why they're still able to tour to this day, and all of that. So Day 26 is, I mean, I had an amazing time making a band. Had an amazing time working with Day 26. And they're still my guys. Like, I was with them in Chicago for All Star. Like, you know, they're my homies. You know what I'm saying? Still.
And what I love, and it kind of makes me sad about this era, this is when R&B started trending downwards in terms of popularity. But the progression in your sound during that time, it was that second Day 26 album, Trey Songz, One Love, Before I Met You.
Usher's Before I Met You. And
yeah.
I mean, it's unfortunate because I remember I got a call from Mike Karen, right? Because we were doing Trey. And One Love was, you know, I remember them playing One Love for him. And he called me and was like, yo, man, I love where you're going with your sound. I love the direction. And it's just, you know, R&B was just shifting. You know what I mean? You know, but One Love is one of my favorite joints. Before I Met You is like, I love where I sat sonically. You know what I'm saying? You know, it's kind of, I kind of feel like if I had maybe 2 years earlier started that sound, you know what I'm saying? You know, but 2007, 2008, 2009, it was just a difficult time. You know what I'm saying? For R&B music, because it really, I mean, EDM came in and just really completely shifted the culture, and hip hop, you know, was always there, but it just really, really, really shifted. You know what I'm saying? And that Trey record, you know, I was supposed to have like 7 songs on the album. You know, we did a record called Patron. We had a record that was supposed to be him and Keisha Cole. We had so many records, but they got leaked. This is the beginning of records getting emailed. So a lot of the songs we were making for Trey got leaked. And at that point, it was like a bad thing. Like, oh, well, the records got leaked. We're not going to use them. You know what I'm saying? And that's kind of what happened. And but Ready ended up becoming one of Trey's, you know, big joints. You know what I'm saying? It came, you know, it became one of his most important albums. One of them. You know what I mean? So, you know.
Yeah. And then another one, you said Patron. I was going to say Amory's Red Eye, same beat, but that production.
Yeah.
Like I said, if that had come out a couple of years earlier, man, that would have been something. And then, you know, to cap off that era, of course, Monica Is Still Standing. That was like the last part of that R&B era. You guys managed to get a hit album with that one. Still Standing. A lot of great records on there. Superman. Just talk about that album. I know you had a big part in that one as well.
Yeah, I mean, Monica's, you know, like, you know, our sister. You know, she's the, you know, she's the queen of it here. You know what I mean? And and so when she called Chris, like, Chris, I need Bryan to get on this shit, you know, this, that, and the third. And we worked it out and we started working. And she was doing a reality show at the time. So it kind of worked out because I was experienced and, you know, I did Making a Band. I did Another School Man Band. I had done a few shows, so it worked out that I knew my way around music-based reality, and so of course me, Adonis, and Kendrick went in with the concept of literally trying to make it's Monica, man. We gotta come with that shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like I said, the song is in the conversation. So Still Standing came from, I know Monica well, and I know a lot of the stuff she's gone through. You know what I'm saying? So Still Standing came from a conversation directly from her. And Monica writes a lot of poetry. She's really into poems, and she'll write like mad poems, and then she'll text you with the poem, like, I got this poem, and then you basically can write songs around, you know what I mean, what she's experiencing, or her concept, you know what I mean? So Still Standing was literally just, her saying that she's been through this and that, and she's still standing, you know what I'm saying? And and throughout that process, we were able to get in, and and me and Jermaine and Cristal made Love All Over.
Yeah.
Which turned out to be a big record. So it was like, but it's energy, it's synergy, it's chemistry, you know what I'm saying? And we have that. You know what I'm saying? We have that with Monica. Like, Monica is literally like my sister in real life. You know what I mean?
Right.
So and she's one of our greats, you know what I'm saying? She's one of our greats, so yeah. That was a good time though. We did Love All Over in Vegas. Monica was hanging out with us. They was doing the Ocean 7, movement, you know what I'm saying? And Monica was hanging out with us heavy, and she was coming to Vegas hanging out with us, and that music was made during that period.
Right. Now, R&B then evolves, it shifts, it changes. It's not necessarily the most mainstream genre. You're kind of transitioning in your career as well. You start working with Genuine, Last Chance, Frozen, Trick of Choice.
I worked with Genuine before.
Yep, on Stingy.
I did a record. Me and Jonte did a record called Stingy on Genuine back in the early 2000s. So we, I was already, me and Genuine were already, we were already connected. We were already homies. And opportunity, he did a deal with this company called Notify, and my homegirl Ira, and they put us on the short list of producers he wanted to work with. So I was like, Genuine is my dude. So we went and we made Last Chance, and which ended up being a hit record. You know what I mean? It's like, not surprisingly, because during that era, it just was getting R&B off. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It was so difficult. You know what I mean?
Right.
So the fact that we were able to get that shit off, you know what I mean?
Right.
With Last Chance was amazing. You know what I'm saying? And it was great. Yo, hold on. I gotta go grab my charger because I think my shit about to die. Hold up.
All good. Yep. Hope you guys are enjoying this right now. History lesson from beginning to end.
All right.
Cool.
My shit is about to die. I think my shit about to die. Hold up, yo. Hold up. I think it's about to die. So you understand, with me and Kendrick and Adonis was on, you know what I mean? Like, we just was like, yo, man, if we're gonna be the last of the dying breed, you know what I mean? Let's go with a bang, you know what I mean? That's how I felt.
Yeah.
This thing's not charging up. Hold up.
All right.
So so the Last Chance was one of them. Was one of them ones that was, it was a good one. It was a good
Trick
one.
of Choice. Trick of Choice was a good one.
Trick of Choice was my joint. Yeah.
That was my joint too.
Yeah.
So after that era, you go into developing acts like Gotham City.
Yeah.
That was one of the acts that you developed.
I've been getting a lot of, before we go into Gotham City, I've been getting a lot of questions in the chat about Dirty Rose, and Dirty Rose was a group I had early on. My best, like my brother, his name is Chase. His real name is Trevor, but his name is Chase. Like my little brother, he came to me with a group. This is back in the day, and I didn't really understand, exactly how to manipulate the business properly. It was early on, and I don't think any of us was ready or prepared. You know what I'm saying?
Mm, yeah.
Properly. We made some really, really dope records. But energy is everything, synergy is everything. And, you know, we ended up getting a deal with Universal Records, and then it just kind of fell apart because there was some turmoil going on in the group, and just a lot of stuff going on. You know what I'm saying? And I didn't really know how to manage it. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know what to do. You know what I mean? When turmoil starts happening internally, you're just like, man, I don't even know how to do this. You know, it implodes,
Right.
right? So after
Yeah.
that after it didn't work out, you know what I mean? I kind of swore off acts like, oh, I'm cool. You know what I mean?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But then down the line, you know, I'm Gotham City. Um,
Hmm.
I meet the guys of Gotham City,
Yeah.
and we were myself, J.Q. Smith, Greg Smith, Michael Winder, and Carissa Kendi. She actually a group that she was managing and working with, and they fell in my lap, and I fell in love with them. You know what I'm saying? I thought that they were just amazing. I thought they were going to be. I feel like they were the proper energy, the proper um, time. What, you know, little did I know the timing was off, but I thought the timing was right at the time.
Right.
Um, and you know, like I said, man, you know, you cannot be successful in this business without having gone through some failures. You know what I mean?
Right.
Or some things
Yeah.
that you felt like should have been big and should have worked, and it didn't work. You know what I mean? For whatever reason, and it's nobody's to blame. You know, it's just sometimes shit just don't work out. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And Gotham City was a phenomenal group. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Hmm.
I feel like they had a look. You know what I mean? And you know, labels were highly interested. But once again, we're shopping an R&B group during an era where R&B is deemed to be really expensive, especially a
Yep.
group.
Yeah.
Very expensive, very, very expensive, and people have lost their you know zest, you know, or their zeal
Mhm.
for, you know what I mean, R&B. You know what I mean? So it's like talking to a brick wall when you walk into a room,
Right.
um, trying to get people to understand and, yo, listen, this shit is fire. I know that y'all think R&B is not working right now, but trust me, we could be
Hmm.
a group right now. You know what I mean? And
Yep.
you know, um, people were interested, but people just didn't. You know, it just, I think they ended up being like, this is going to be too expensive. You know what I mean?
Mm.
You know,
Right.
4 guys, manager, you, Q. I mean, the whole. I think people just saw that the business had changed. We didn't.
Right.
I didn't see what was happening to the financial,
Hmm.
um, you know, thing with the music business. You know, I didn't see it at the time. I should have, because it was definitely affecting my pockets at the time. But
Yep.
but I just, you know, for a lot of labels, it didn't make sense financially. You know what I mean?
Right.
Even we were trying to get re-up Day 26's deal at Atlantic, and you know, just financially, everybody was at a disadvantage. You know, people just didn't want to invest. You know what I mean?
Right.
You know, but they're
Yeah.
all lessons, man. You know, at the end of the day, it
Yeah.
leads us to where we are now in our life. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And one thing I got to give you props for, even throughout that tough period when EDM was really taking over, you never really compromised your sound. The closest you probably got to an EDM style type of record, and I thought it was a dope record, was Danity Kane's Sucker for Love. That was like the closest that we got to that. But
Yeah.
take me back to the era then where R&B starts falling off, EDM takes over, and now you're thinking on an R&B album, beforehand it would be 12 R&B songs on one album.
Yeah.
Now you're only allowed to have 6 R&B songs, I mean, on an album. The other 6 are EDM records. So your ability to get placements on an album, it diminishes a little bit. How are you handling all of this? Because you never compromise your sound, which we love, but how are you managing this financially, emotionally?
Well,
Just take me through the
I think
process.
ultimately this business is about relationships.
Yeah.
100%. You know what I'm saying? So when you're friends with Mariah Carey, and when you're friends
Yeah.
with Mary J. Blige, and when you're friends with Usher Raymond, you
Hmm.
know, yeah, it might slow down, but you know, at some point you're gonna always have an opportunity to write some songs for somebody.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? How we survived through that, you know, was just through our personal relationships with people that we came up with. You know what I mean?
Right.
Everybody was still those people were still making albums. So because they were still making albums, we always had an opportunity to work. You know what I'm saying? So it went so fast though. I'm gonna keep it real. Like I wasn't. I think back and it was a lot of personal things happened. So like I had a child. You know what I mean? Like all kinds of things happen. So when you're going through like regular life shit, it didn't really affect me as much as people might think it did. For me, I had so much shit going on in my life and my personal life at the time. It didn't.
Right.
I mean, it went so fast, man. I'm gonna keep it real. Like I'm thinking back, I'm like, you understand too. I just started doing other shit. You know what I mean? I started delving into other, just other shit. I started, I always been a DJ, but I really had started jumping into DJing. And I really started hanging out. I left like mainstream clubs. Like, there was an era of us going to mainstream clubs and buying bottles and all that shit, right? And I went from there to just like, yo, I'm gonna start hanging out in East Atlanta and I'm gonna start going to Sound Table and start going to L Bar and start going where music is, where people are inspired to play music. And I was doing a lot of DJing shit in New York, right? So I was going to New York a lot DJing. So that's where I connected with MOS and DJ Kiss is when I first started really building with like, D Nice, started building properly with, Martina McFly. And I started really getting cool with the DJs, you know what I'm saying? Like outside of mainstream, because I knew a gang of DJs before that was like running mainstream, like, especially in Atlanta, from, Super Friends to Affiliates to, you know what I mean? To the core DJs and, I knew all them, but I didn't know a lot of these DJs that were, these tastemaker DJs that were setting trends in other places that niggas that I knew wouldn't go. You know what I mean? I couldn't get any of my friends to go to L Bar. You know what I mean? Well, out of my celebrity friends. You know what I'm saying? I could get all my close homies to go, but I couldn't get like, I couldn't get Usher to go to L Bar in 2012.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's a thing. It was like I was in those places getting inspired. And it really put a battery in my back creatively. And I met so many great people. And during that whole time, I've always been into philanthropy. So every year I do my Grammy brunch, and that kept me going too. As soon as I dove into philanthropy, that really kept me like going. You know what I'm saying? And next thing I know, man, I look up, it's 2020, man. The years go by so fast. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, okay,
exactly.
And we're still here, and we're still, we're still willing and able and making records. We still, records on the radio again. I've lived long enough to see the trend shift back.
Yeah, I think what's cool is, to a lot of common fans, when they see that an artist or producer hasn't been in the spotlight for a minute, the immediate thing we think is, oh, they fell off, they lost their talent, which isn't necessarily the case. But when you came back into the mainstream with that LMA record, it brought you to a whole new different audience, a younger generation that probably doesn't even really know who you are as a person, but they might recognize the work. So when you see the response that Dangerous gets on social media and they don't know who you are, how does that make you feel? Is it I knew it, I knew this would be a hit already, or is it, wow, I can't believe they're connecting with this?
I'm cool. Music is a universal language, and people will connect to good shit. You know what I'm saying? I never stopped making music. So here's the deal, right? The one thing that bugs me about the industry, that always bugs me, especially when it comes to urban shit, us, I mean, just so you know what I'm talking about. A person like Max Martin could take 5 years off and nobody questions it. Dr. Luke can have him time, time off, nobody questions it. You know, our white counterparts can take, you know, J.R. Rodham could take 5 years off, and nobody is questioning his ability, or nobody is doubting his ability. The second Pharrell takes a year, 2 years off making music, they want to write him off, and then he comes back with Happy. The second, you know, R&B goes through a drought, you know what I mean? They want to write all of the, you know, all of the black creatives off. Like, like you can't do that. You know what I'm saying? Like how could you, you know, and it's really us that do it. You know what I'm saying? It's not because you understand on the other side, they, you know, they hold their legends up. They don't tear them down. You know what I mean? And I feel like we've had a terrible knack throughout the years to you know, kind of just write our legends off. When the newness, when the new people come in and they blow up, and now it's the new. You know what I mean? Even executives, you know, become chart chasers, and people that were your friends who know that you're talented are like, well, my man right here got the you know, number one record on the charts, so I'm gonna go get him. I could go B Cox, but B, you gotta get hot, baby. You know what I'm saying? So, I just would, which is why I love what's happening with Versus right now. Why I appreciate what Timbaland and Swiss are doing, because the amount of appreciation that these creatives are getting now, I'm really glad to see that energy happen. Because under normal circumstances, we'd be written off. You know what I mean? They'd be like, when the last time so and so had a hit? That's really the question. When the last time such and such had a hit? You know what I mean? It's like, wait a minute, you don't know what that person is going through. You know what I mean? If I got a friend named, I spent a lot of time in Nashville, and you know, my first couple times going down there, I got a chance to write with this guy named Marcus Hummins. Right, Marcus Hummins is a phenomenal songwriter. He has multiple Grammys. He's written songs for Rascal Flatts, and you name it. Right. Marcus Hummins lives a very regular life. You don't see him. He makes his money. He writes his song. He writes a hit song every couple years. You know what I mean? And he be chilling. You know what I'm saying? And nobody questions. Marcus Hummins could walk into any office with a new song, and they're gonna take the meeting. Nobody questions if Marcus Hummins is hot. You know what I'm saying? You know, he's just Marcus when he walks in. You know what I mean? Toby Gad, the same thing. Like Toby Gad, who's a phenomenal producer. Nobody questions if Toby Gad is hot. I'm not gonna take it. I mean, he's just Toby Gad. You're gonna take the meeting, and you're gonna take the song. You're gonna put it out. Nobody questions if he's hot. You know what I'm saying? But for us, it's always a question of like, when was the last hit you had? Like, you ain't hot. And that's always the question. I remember I had an argument with a colleague of mine, a debate about a particular producer. And I mean, he was like, yo, this dude is finished. Like, he was just going in on this producer. And I'm like, how can you say that this guy's finished? This guy is one of the most creative people I know. How can you tell me that he's finished? Nobody's ever finished. As long as you got breath in your lungs and blood running through your veins, you're not finished. What are you talking about? You know what I mean? What are you talking about? You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
I don't ever want to, you know, I just don't like that. That's the sentiment we've had throughout the years. I'm just glad that Timbaland and Swiss are doing their best to change the narrative. And to show people that, you know, this shit is timeless, man. We are timeless. We are the culture. We are timeless. And you can never count any of us out. Nobody. You know what I mean? You can't count none of us out. You know what I'm saying? So, you know.
And then to all the listeners, I just hope, you know, we love the classics, but you guys also have to check out the new music that they're putting out. Like Tim Kelly, he just did Sean Stockman's debut album.
Fire. Sean sent me the album yesterday. It's fire. Yeah.
Crazy.
Fire,
Tim and Bob. So classic right there. But, you know, speaking of new music 2020, you dropped the Usher record, Don't Waste My Time. Going crazy right now. You're working on the album.
It's an album,
We've talked about it before, and, you know, we don't have a timeline on it yet, but a lot of people want to know about the song Believe. Jermaine and Usher played that
Yeah,
record. What is that song all about? Because that record is crazy.
it's coming. You know, at the end of the day, I feel like now the press is on. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I think that now we have to press the gas a little bit. I feel like people are asking for this music. They put out the Lil Jon record today, the Lil Jon
yeah,
Ludacris record today. I feel like people are, you know, I feel like now they see that
yeah,
it's a demand for it and it's urgent to get the album finished. But the album is,
yeah.
I mean, from my perspective, the album is very close to being finished. I mean,
Right,
we're at the end of it. You know what I mean? I mean, unless it's like, let somebody come with, you know what I mean, something
right.
ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? I feel
Yeah,
like we're at the end of it. You know what I'm saying? And there's just a lot of great songs on the album. I feel like the Usher fans are going to get exactly what they have been asking for. You know what I'm saying? You know, and what they've been talking about. And we had a good time. We had a good time making the project. We have, you know, it's good because our synergy is good. We're super
right,
close now. You know, you have a 20-year relationship with somebody. You go ups
right,
and downs. You might be close to some years, and some years y'all might not even talk, and this, that, and the third. We're in a space now where we're all really we have a really great synergy, and I'm excited about the music. I feel like this album is going to be a phenomenal, phenomenal Usher album. You know what I mean? And I think y'all going to get exactly what y'all asked for. You know what I mean? In regards to it.
nice.
Um, you know, working on Division's album. The album's coming out on the 17th.
Yeah,
Been talking to Ella and Miko, so hopefully we'll get that off the ground.
yeah,
We've been really talking about how we're going to go forward. I'm working on Robert Glasper's new album. You know, he's already started, you know, writing songs for it. So we're gonna start, you know, once we get out of this craziness, you know what I mean? We're gonna
yeah.
start pulling together what his album's gonna sound like and look like. And you know, man, I'm just at this point in my life, you know, I've always had fun, but I'm like having the most fun in my life
It,
right now. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
You know, it's because there's no limit. First of all, when you get to a place where you really don't care about
yeah,
what other people say, um, that's some real freeing shit right there. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
When you get to a place where it's like, man, I don't even care what nobody think. You know what I mean? I'm who I
Right.
am, and can't nobody take away nothing that I've done or nothing that me and my team or my colleagues have done. And I'm super comfortable in my skin, like super comfortable. Like I don't need approval from nobody. So when you get to that place of life, it is the
Right,
most freeing, you know what I mean,
right.
uh, place to be. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just excited. I'm really excited about this Usher album. I think that it's some of our best work. You know what I mean?
Love it.
And you know, shout out to everybody. I mean, the project has everybody on it. You know, the Dream is on it. You know, Sean Garrett's on it. I'm on it. Jermaine's on it. You know, we got a lot of really dope vibes on it. Keith really dove in. You know what I'm saying? And really, you know, committed to A&R in this project properly. So I think it's going to be dope as hell. You know what I mean?
Love it. So, you got to promise me two things, and then I'll take one question or a couple of
Yeah.
questions from the audience because I know a lot of questions are rolling
Yeah.
through. First of all, you're gonna promise me that that battle producer thing is gonna happen with you and Rodney.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's going to happen. Me and Rodney have spoken. We spoke like twice this week, and I mean, it's going to happen. I mean, you know, we just waiting on Swiss to
Yeah.
give us the date. It's going to happen, and I think it's going to be a great thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's going to happen.
Yeah.
It's going to happen.
All right. The second promise, you got to promise me that Usher won't change the direction of his album and have Max Martin take over it
Oh,
because
come on.
we're close. We're
Listen.
so
First of all,
close.
we're not going. I'm not throwing no shade at all.
No,
Max Martin's a
not it.
genius, so I don't want
Of course.
to
Yeah.
get that. But the album is
It's gonna come
the
out
album's
the way
done.
it is.
The album's pretty much done, man. You know what I mean? Like you know, you know, it's pretty much that we'd have to start all over. And
Right.
I don't think he
No.
wants to start all over, especially now since we have momentum. You know what I'm saying? We have proper momentum, and everybody knows he knows what everybody wants. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like there's one thing I want you guys to understand. Usher is aware of what people want. So this particular album is very deliberate about giving the people what they ask for.
Right.
He's being very deliberate about it. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like we're in a space where, as you guys can see with Sex Beat, we've had Sex Beat. You know what I mean? Like Lil Jon and them did that song. You know, they did that. Lil Jon and Jermaine did that song 3 years ago, 2, 3. You know what I mean? They've had that song. You know what I mean? And there are a lot of vibes that are going to be on the album that we've had. You know what I'm saying?
Nice.
So Usher's being very deliberate about this album. It's going to be fire. Trust me. Trust me. You're going to get exactly what you want.
Nice. I hope everyone listening right now, watching, they go and support that album. This is what we've been waiting for almost a decade, so go support it. So we'll take a couple of fan questions here. One that came to mind right now was, what was the song that took you the longest to write and produce? That was the most challenging for you? Because you've had fast records that you've written really quickly. What's one that took a long time?
That we had to go back and do again, and
yeah, or you just couldn't figure it out right away.
Shit, I don't know. We pretty much write the songs. Like if they become difficult, we know what. I take it back. There's a song that we're doing right now that we keep going back to. They keep going back to this song. Jermaine has a song called with Usher called well, right now tentatively it's called Usher Party, and they keep going back to trying to change this song, you know, change the hook, change the, you know what I'm saying? It's kind of been this has probably been the longest process of a song, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Because for me, when I hear it, the first version is the best version of me. Sometimes you can't get better than the first version, you know what I mean? But, you know, most of the songs, most times we nail it. Most times it's just like once we start, it just keeps going. You know what I mean?
Right. Nice. Someone wanted me to mention Lee Cars The Way It Used to Be.
Yeah.
That was a record. That was a crazy record.
Yeah.
That was a record. Here's a question. We'll get to that Marcus Houston Circle record in a bit, but here's one that I've always wanted to ask. You've produced so many hits. Do you ever, in your mind, because your sound has evolved over your career, do you ever look at a record, let's say at like Circle, do you ever go back and say, man, I wish I should have added this to it, knowing what you know now?
It's always
for a record that
always.
Yeah.
Always. You always. The only record that I don't ever in life question, the only record that I think is the closest to being perfect is Mary's Be Without You. Every other song is always like, damn, I could have did that. Or damn, I could have did a drop there. Or damn, I could have, and you know what I mean? I could have used this progression versus that progression. You know, it's always that. I think the only song that to me that's the closest to perfect to me as a producer is Mary J. Blige's Be Without You. I hear that song and I don't hear no mistakes. It's like, you know, we were able to achieve as close to perfection, you know what I'm saying, as possible with that joint.
Right.
You know?
Right. Yeah. So someone wanted me to shout out Jonte or Nephew's song "I'm on One." That was a crazy record. That was on YouTube, your YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Circle by Marcus Houston, Adonis. You and Kendrick put that one together.
Yeah.
Just quickly, I know we're out of time here, but just give us some background on that one.
Well, I mean, like I said, the song is in the conversation, and when I learned that working with Jermaine and Usher, I still carry it to this day. So when me, Kendrick, and Adonis started working together very heavy, we adopted that technique, you know what I mean? So we would always talk, we would always, you know, have conversations about life, and, you know, and we were living life, and, you know, we were having fun, we were living life at a really high level. You know what I'm saying? And Circle, you know, I've always had, I've always been like in my personal life up and down with love, and you know, like we all have, right? So at this point, it was we were having a conversation about a relationship that I had been in, and while we at the time we couldn't really let each other go, and we was going back and forth and this, that, and the third, and he was like, yeah, something like a circle, and I was like, yeah, like a fucking circle. And then that's what prompted us starting the song, you know what I mean, writing the song. And Adonis is, you know, once you give Adonis a concept, first of all, he's great with concepts, period. But if you give him something to shoot for, then 9 times out of 10 he's gonna nail it. Like for My Boo, like when he did My Boo with JD and Manuel, it was, you know, Jermaine gave him something to shoot for, and then he wrote My Boo. You know what I mean? So that was an easy song for us to do, because it was just like I said, through conversation, the song lives in conversation. So, and that kind of segued. We began a lot of questions about writer's block. That segues into my writer's block the thing is that how we overcome writer's block is I do a lot of fucking talking, man.
Right.
You know what I mean? I do a lot of talking. I either to my friends, or, you know, I have a lot. I mean, I have a lot of close friends that are women, and I will talk to them about what their, you know what I mean, ups and downs are about life and dating and shit like that. And a lot of that, you soak that up, you know what I mean? And so when it's time to write, you have something to pull from, you know what I mean? So, you know, I do a lot of talking. I try to do a lot of talking.
Love it.
Yeah.
And then the last one, well, someone asked Babyface or Teddy. I'm going to leave that to you because we're going to get in trouble for that one.
Yeah, I can't answer that one, because I mean
No, you can't
they're
answer that.
both my senseis, you know what I mean? But I'm excited to see it. I'm excited to hear it. You know, I pretty much know every one of their records. So it's gonna be a lot of people who don't know, who's gonna have a real learning experience for this Teddy Riley Babyface verses. I think you guys are gonna learn some valuable shit. You know what I'm saying? Because they finna to play some shit.
A lot.
You know what I'm saying? They finna play some shit. So yeah.
Yeah. So last question here. Got a couple of Ashanti fans bugging me right now. I didn't actually know she was part of
She
Noontime until
was.
Josh told me.
Shanti's my dear friend.
Talk about that record, unreleased record, All I Want.
I don't know. Me and Ashanti have a lot of unreleased joints. A lot of joints nobody heard. Just Shawnee's one of those people. She's self-contained. Yep. She's also a person that knows exactly what she wants, knows exactly, you know what I mean, what she wants to do. She's a supreme songwriter, you know what I mean? And she's just completely aware of what she wants to do. So working with Ashanti is so easy, because we may talk, we may have like some concept ideas, but Shawnee's gonna write it. You know, she's not really going to be like in there, you know, letting nobody else write her story. Like Shawnee's gonna write it. You know what I mean? I think the name of her company is Written Entertainment. Like that's her. You know what I mean? She's like, she's a song writer first. So you know. And just an amazing person. You know, Shanti, let me tell you what's crazy. Ashanti's somebody who, as long as I've known Ashanti, probably since she was like 17. And as long as I've known Ashanti, she has been the exact same. Just the same energy, the same. She's always has a glow about her, laughing, joking. Like Ashanti's just super, super special. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, yeah.
All right. Someone's asking about Yolanda Adams' You. I think that's a record you produced.
Yeah, I did that for a Tyler Perry movie.
Yeah.
I mean, I turned the master in. I don't know why they hadn't put it out. I mean, they paid me, so
Right.
I don't know why they didn't put it out. But I mean, we did that for a Tyler Perry movie, and you know, I don't know why they didn't put it out. I mean,
Right.
it's in the movie. I don't know why they didn't put it out. I might put that up on the SoundCloud or something at some point too. So I'll let y'all know, because you know, because it's out somewhere. I mean, they paid me for it. It's out somewhere.
Right. Would love to see it. Well, Bryan, that's all for now. That was an hour and a half of just great history,
Yeah, man.
the hits. Like I said, the album cuts, the leaked records. We talked about it all.
Yeah.
So we're done here, but I know a lot of fans are still wanting to chat with you. So I'll leave you to that. But Bryan, I thank you so much again for always supporting us,
Always, man.
always showing us love.
Before you leave, we're gonna give a big shout out to Jonte Austin, Mr.
Yep.
Sinatra. He's in the building. He's on the chat, so I wanted to make sure we shouted him out while you was on here. You know what I'm saying?
Also want to shout out RL from Next. He gave you a shout out. He
That's
was
my
just
boy.
on with us before you got on. He wanted to give you a shout
my
out.
dude.
Wanted to let us know or let you guys know that this guy's a genius, B Cox right here. So shout out to RL.
And also, while we, I'm sorry, we gotta go. While we're in here, Dre Harris, Dre and Vidal, he's in here too. So Andre Harris, who's a phenomenal producer and one of my like closest friends, and you know, he's in the chat. So big shouts out to Dre. Yeah, of course, y'all keep asking about this thing with me and Rodney. I told y'all it's happening, which means that if I'm saying it's happening, that means that I'm ready. So,
Right.
so that means that we're ready. You know what I mean? So that means that he's ready. That means that I'm ready. We're gonna have a good time. You know, I'm gonna put my tuxedo on. I'm having champagne on ice. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna have a good time. And you know, let's have a good time with it.
Love it. Appreciate it again. Once again, B Cox. Dre, come hit us up. We need to get on a live with you as well. Talk that history. But B Cox, we'll talk again soon. We'll keep supporting everything you're doing. Just keep us posted and keep it up.
No doubt.
All right, man. Take care.
All right.